I think at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to tell a Spider-Man show that is unique, that people haven't seen before, but that feels very much like Marvel.
Yeah, and mind you, it was a daunting task as well, because here we are, we're going to produce our first Spider-Man show, and there have been so many amazing Spider-Man shows that have come previous to this, that trying to come up with an idea that was hopefully unique and a new vision on Spidey was a little scary. But I think we've come up with something that is true to Marvel, fans are going to love, and it's something that they haven't seen before, and it's very funny.
This is when I leave the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man note. Can I borrow a pen?
I'm old enough that I was a big fan of the original Spider-Man comic, the animated show, and I could sing the theme song, though I won't, by heart. And so I was already excited by that. And then when I kind of got the pitch and saw that these particular young superheroes were hiding out at this high school in Manhattan and being overseen by Principal Coulson, it was a very quick decision.
Now I'm offering you the chance to do better, to really learn about responsibility.
Translation?
I want to shield train you to be a better Spider-Man, the ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, I guess when you have a character who's, first of all, a teenager, secondly, he can crawl on walls, he can shoot webs and fly, he looks sensational in that costume of his, and he has personal problems that you always have to worry about, how could you not want to see him and hear him and learn all about him?
Remember when I told you about Spidey sense? This time it's kicking up a storm.
And I remember sending Jeph an email saying, why don't we, since we, all of us relate to Peter Parker and feel like either we could be him if not for not being bitten by a radioactive spider, or we feel that he could be our best friend, why not take that approach and have Peter break the fourth wall and stop the action and talk directly to the viewer, and simultaneously, Jeph was talking to Paul Dini about coming on to do the show. And once Paul just signed on, Paul sent Jeph an email saying, hey, why don't we do a show where Peter breaks the fourth wall and talks to the viewer, and we get a peek inside his head. And so I think all of us were thinking in the same vein. So it's almost like this is exactly what the show was meant to be. And we just hit the ground running with it. And it's, we think it's one of the unique things about this Spider-Man show that's really going to get people talking about it.
It also came really from, everything comes from publishing at the end of the day. This isn't a show that we felt that you could put sort of any character into. If you read a Spider-Man comic, there is so much of it is about his quippage. There is so much about Peter sort of self-narrating his life. Whenever you see Spider-Man swinging across town, he's never quiet. He's always talking about either the problems that he has, or the fears that he has in front of him, or he's making a joke about, or the excitement of whatever it is that he's doing. When you take that and you bring that into an animated world, we just said, okay, how do we take that and actually show the audience what it is that he's thinking about?
Listen up. Everyone needs to hear this. Food fight!
Pretty much exactly the principle that you would think Principal Coulson would be, in that he takes every task, from their keeping track of their academic performance to the musical that they're putting on at the show way too seriously, and he's unfortunately having to be rescued from time to time by these kids that he's monitoring, and at the same time he's kind of funny and clearly loves his job more than anyone has a right to, which I relate to.
Well, I can't say that all my life I've wanted to be a janitor, but I tried to bring something to the role to make it more than just janitorial. I wanted to put a little philosophy, a little meaning into it. I wanted to make the viewers feel, I too, with luck, might be a janitor someday.
This isn't really how I pictured our first team up.
There's going to be terrific guest stars. We've got Iron Man is going to be coming by, Thor's coming by, we've got a Wolverine episode. Anybody that, if you're a Marvel fan, you're going to see somebody on that show that you absolutely love. The regular cast that's joined that's part of the surprise that Peter gets when he joins this program at S.H.I.E.L.D. in order to become the Ultimate Spider-Man. Is what he doesn't realize is there are actually some other people that have been enrolled in the program, and that's, we have a chance to introduce to a new audience some great fun characters, and at the same time, there's your characters that our regular audience does know, and that's Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Danny Rand, who is, I'm sorry, Luke Cage is Power Man, Danny Rand, Iron Fist, a new Nova in Sam Alexander, and a brand new White Tiger in Ava Ayala.
And also, this is also keeping with the Marvel DNA. One of the things that Stan and Jack and Steve and John and all those guys brought to the Marvel Universe in the early 60s was this idea of a shared universe.
In the early days, when we were creating those characters, I made sure they all lived in the same area, in New York City, so that we could have them meet each other and guest star in the various comics. I love doing that.
This is nuts! How do they know? How did they find me? Fury was right. I have a lot to learn about responsibility.
You know, when you start off with such an incredible writing staff, Paul Dini, two-time Emmy winner, who doing his first work for Marvel, but a longtime Marvel fan. The Man of Action guys, Joe Kelly, Joe Casey, Steve Siegel, and Duncan Rouleau, guys who created such shows as Ben 10 and Generator X, but who our Marvel fans know as the guys who've been writing some of the best Marvel comics that are out there. And then, you know, as icing on the cake, a guy who knows a little bit about Ultimate Spider-Man, the guy who's written every single episode, every single issue for the last 10 years. It's over 150 issues. Brian Michael Bendis, and then us two schmoes.
How ultimate is ultimate?
That ultimate.